guys, welcome back to Shama Saba. I'm going to be transparent, straightforward, honest with you guys, which I have been across pretty much all of my videos. If you guys don't know by now, but I work in the tech industry and there's been a lot of job layoffs. So unfortunately, I was one of those who was laid off from my tech position. I was a product designer. My company let go a lot of us due to not having a lot of work for us to do and various multiple reasons. And so I want to share with you guys, if you are currently worried about your position, if you're worried about the recession. But don't worry, you guys are not alone in this. If you already have gone through this, if you've been laid off, you can watch my video, continue watching. I share some tips with you guys. And if you have not and you're worried, please continue to watching. Also, there's going to be a second part to this. I'm going to focus much more on mental health because I know that this can affect you financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. This can take a toll on you. I pretty much gotten that part straightened out, figured out pretty well. So I'd like to share some advice with you guys as well on the next video when it comes to being laid off or the recessions. First things first, evaluate your job security. Something that I wish I would have done with every job industry that you're working in, there's going to be little signs that shows there's going to be a potential layoff. So one would be, look at the financial situation of your company. Does it look like the money that they're having is starting to dwindle out? Does it look like they're starting to lose more profits? Are they losing businesses? That's a good sign to look for. The second thing would be to evaluate the need of your skills. So consider the demand of the role in your job. Is it in high demand right now? Things such as like AI is starting to look like it's taking certain people's positions. So look into things like that. So the next thing would be to evaluate the stability of your industry. Some jobs will be more insulated than others. So if your position is more vulnerable during potential economic downfalls, start to consider looking elsewhere, or start to consider that they may be a potential layoff or recession for your particular industry. So I kind of said this a little bit earlier, but start to look for signs from your employer. Are they saying things like downsizing? Are they using these type of terminologies? With that, I would say start to ask your employer directly about the future, the stability of your current position, as well as consider your position in the company. Are you at a higher level? Do you have a senior or director position, or do you have an entry, or you just started working in this company? Those are the first ones to go. If you're entry or if you just started, those are the first to leave. So the next thing that I wish someone would have told me, or I wish that I would have thought about doing being laid off or a potential recession, if you guys are worried about that, would be to keep a look on your expenses. Do not spend more than what you are bringing in. First and foremost, I would say to create a budget. Start by listing all of your monthly expenses, including your rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, health. Start by having a budget plan set for that, and then calculate the income that you're going to be having coming each month. As I said again, make sure that you're spending less than what you're bringing in. A side note to that, stop spending money on things that you don't really need. Start focusing on the things that you really need. So you have to sacrifice during this time period. I know that it could be hard, but in the long run, you're going to pay off. You're going to be one of the ones that's still standing. None of us really know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's good to plan ahead so that you know that you are better situated in the future than you are currently, if you're not doing anything about that. If there's unnecessary things like certain subscriptions that you don't need, if there are certain things like certain memberships that you don't need, but I guess a gym membership is very much so good because it can get you outside of your head. And if you work from home like I did, like I was doing, being around people is a good way to continue to keep your membership, and as well as for your mental health, to get those hormones together so that you won't feel as depressed, getting your dopamines, serotonin levels into effect. So I feel like having a gym membership, if not a gym membership, if you have workout from home as well, if this is like something that you feel like is taking money from your budget, try to implement working out from home. Start to implement more coupons. There are certain websites like Flip, Checkout 51. These sites can help you compare and contrast the difference from grocery stores, so it can help you save more money. You can also start tracking your expenses, like you have your budget and everything laid off. You can use certain types of apps that can help you with that, so you could possibly look into that. I could say start using much more cash than credit card, because with your credit cards, you don't really physically see what you're spending, whereas cash, you can see that your money is consistently decreasing. So that's another good option to choose from as well. The third thing I want to focus on would be, I mentioned it earlier, but living below your means, which I said earlier, spending less than what you make. So I want to double back on that. I want to just start back saying reducing dining out, start preparing more home cooked meals. Start by shopping at places like Trader Joe's. They have much cheaper groceries. If you don't have one of those, whatever lower price stores that you have, start by shopping there for your groceries. Spending less on having fun, so less money on going out. Like if you go to the club, stop doing that. If you're extracurricular activities, you have to make sacrifices for those types of things, but it's just temporary, you guys. Like think about the reward. You have to kind of sacrifice. You kind of have to train your mind away. I know that it could be very difficult because you get so much pleasures by doing the things that you like, and you feel like you're punishing yourself, but you're not punishing yourself. You have to think of it in a different way. Oh, I have to make these certain sacrifices, but for a small amount of time, but you can still reward yourself, but just not as much as you probably used to have done. And just always keep in mind that this is temporary. This is not permanent. This is just a fraction of your life. This is not your full life story. And I want you guys to not get so caught up into what someone else is maybe doing, or what you could have done. These things happen sometimes. This is a part of life, but this is not your entire life. This is a fraction of your life. You will get through this. So I don't want to give you guys any of the juices for the mental health. I just want to share that a little bit with you all. The next thing I want to tell you guys is to create an emergency fund that has at least 3 to 6 months of savings that can cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. Since you already know your monthly expenses, this first step that we talked about, I want you guys to consider thinking about, where do you want to save? Consider opening a separate savings account that's only used for your emergency fund. This will help prevent you from spending money on non-emergency related things. Set up a automatic transfer of your checking account to your emergency fund. Doing this you don't really have to think about it. This will be consistently done. You decide how much you need. Like as I said in the beginning, you decide how much you need and do this automatically every month. So after you have gotten to your goal, keep adding to your goal. Even if you don't get laid off, this is still good to have for anything, for any emergency reasons, because the average American household, as we know, don't have $400 in emergency cases. By you having this already set up, you're already ahead of the curve. So you guys are already ahead of all of us by now. If you start doing this stuff now, you have your job and everything's going well. So the next thing I would tell you guys is to boost your resume, work on your resume. You can also use ChatGPT to give you certain things to add to your resume, but ChatGPT services are sometimes, so the words that they say are a little sometimes generic. But it's a good framework that you could have to build on. But as well as boosting your resume, I would like to say enhancing your skills at your current position or for a new position. For example, start volunteering, start getting certified. I know that my company, they laid off a lot of writers, and I know one person was a writer, but before they had the layoffs, this person got certified in a different area, and so she had a position that's pretty much saved her from being currently laid off. So that's something to think about, as well as join networking events, attend industry events, and I would say use LinkedIn, but really use LinkedIn to build relationships, build networks with people, because this is a place that you can see hiring managers when they're posting things, and not even just when they're posting a job. There's a different tabs when you can just look at posts, and you can focusing on the people who post the jobs, right? The talent acquisitioner. So you can have these, you can see them posting things, and you can just reach out to them. If they make a post, I don't know, let's say they posting about their dog or making anything, just add a connection with them. And then while you having that connection with them, you will see when they're begin to post these things for job listening, and then you can directly at this time message them if you don't have LinkedIn Premium. So this is another way to get your resume boosted or getting yourself known and visible, and as well as building relationships with people. Another thing I would say is, like with resumes, is to, I mentioned ChatGPT, but as well as get seniors, get managers, maybe not in your job right now, or just like people that you know, or as well as use LinkedIn for people to look over your resume coaches to just look over it before you start applying to these different jobs. Or if you, like with me, in my case, I have to have portfolio work plus resumes, have someone to look over that as well. So the next thing I would tell you guys to do is, if you still are employed and you're currently worried about being laid off, you're worried about the recession, is to start having side income, having a side job to just start doing as well, so that when things start to shake up, you can start already have money coming in and just having things like that set up for yourself. And so one side hustle I would say to do is start with food delivering services, things like DoorDash, things like Uber Eats, Grubhub, things like Postmates, any type of service. Like there's even websites for grocery delivering. Optimize, make use of these side hustles that you can still bring on income instead of just watching your money going down lower and lower and lower, or you just being concerned, just still having, building already what you do have and just doing something like that on the side. And there's another thing that you can do besides this, is being a tutor. So if you're good in math, if you're good in science, if you're good in speech, start thinking about leveraging these types of skills. There's sometimes you can also do these types of services online. I'm not sure about what websites to look for, but I'm pretty sure if you can Google anything, you could find something that pops up in that category. Another thing to do is social media. Get a YouTube channel like I'm working on. Use Instagram, TikTok. Start doing these types of things because these are potential streams of income as well. If you have any personal skills, like if you're very dexterous, if you know how to do hair, if you know how to do nails, or if you good with fixing things, like there's a website called Thumbtack, and you can use that to build clientele. Lastly, I would mention is offer freelancing work. So if you're a graphic designer, or if you are anything like in the tech industry, you are a coder, you a product designer, you a web development, etc., you can use things such as Fiverr, Upwork, or freelancer.com to gain clientele that way and bring in money that way. So that's it for today. I hope this helped you guys. I want you to know that you're not alone going through this, and there's ways to get out of this. Again, I want to say again how this is just a temporary moment of your life. Things will get better when you start to doing better and when you start knowing better. But there are certain things that you cannot change, such things such as the recession. It's not your fault. Do not take any of these things personal. If you find yourself in a place of uncertainty, begin to get prepared. Take your time. Don't feel rushed. Don't get panicked. Just start taking your time. Take a deep breath and take your time and begin making these changes and preparing yourself, because you're doing it for your future self. If you have family, you have children, you're taking care of a parent, you have a newborn baby, you're doing this for them. Take a deep breath. You can do it. You can get through it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. As always, peace.